I'm Nate Mercer. This is War Brief Daily for July 3. Here's the short version. Kyiv just absorbed one of the largest combined strikes of the entire war. We're also tracking the Iran track heating up again, a siege in central Sudan that could redraw the map in the west, and a Red Sea trigger that's still armed and waiting. Let's keep this clean. First, and this is the lead story worldwide, Russia, Ukraine. Overnight into Thursday, Russia fired close to 500 drones and more than 70 missiles at Kyiv in a single coordinated multi-directional attack. Ukrainian air defense stopped most of it, but roughly a quarter of that missile salvo got through, around 33 projectiles impacting across the capital. Casualty figures are still moving. Ukrainian officials reported the death toll climbing from 17 to 18 to as high as 25, with more than 90 injured, including 2 children. That number is not settled yet. Treat it as developing. Kyiv's military administration confirmed damage across 36 locations: a hotel, 2 5-story residential buildings, a 9-story building with people trapped inside, a fire on a 16-story rooftop. Here's what actually matters. Russia's own defense ministry said this out loud. They called it retaliation for Ukraine's drone campaign against Russian refineries and energy infrastructure, and named military, industrial, and fuel targets in Kyiv, plus airfields in 4 other oblasts. This wasn't random, it was cumulative. Ukraine's refinery campaign has degraded something like a fifth of Russian refining capacity since early last year. A slow economic strangulation, not a single dramatic raid. And Moscow just answered with mass civilian area barrages instead of a symmetric response. Poland scrambled aircraft as a precaution. Zelensky cut short a trip to Dublin to come home. The front line itself barely moved. This war is being fought through infrastructure now, not territory. Second, Iran, Israel, and the wider Middle East. New U.S. strikes on Iran-linked targets are confirmed as of yesterday, layered on top of an already fragile Hormuz area ceasefire that's frayed more than once since April. And that changes the math on the Houthis. They've explicitly tied any resumption of Red Sea shipping attacks to further U.S.-Israel-Iran escalation. Right now, their posture reads defensive, build-up around Hodeidah, not active strikes. But that's a tripwire, not a resolution. If you strip away the noise, roughly a third of global seaborne oil and gas trade runs through Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb combined. One flare-up in Iran transmits almost automatically into shipping risk. Third, Sudan. The Sudanese armed forces are claiming real battlefield gains. Over 200 RSF vehicles destroyed, a strategic drone downed, depots seized in Darfur and at Kermuk. But the real story is el-Obeid, under the heaviest RSF siege pressure since 2023. If that city falls, RSF effectively locks down Western Sudan. Aid groups are already warning of mass atrocity risk for civilians trapped inside. Indo-Pacific stays quiet for this cycle. No confirmed new provocation in the last 24 hours, though PLA activity around Taiwan remains the baseline to watch. What to watch next? Further Ukrainian deep strikes on Russian refineries as this retaliation cycle continues, and official confirmation on Kyiv's final casualty count. Watch Hormuz and the Red Sea for any Houthi resumption, and watch el-Obeid. That outcome will tell you who controls Western Sudan. No spin, no noise, just intel. I'll see you in the next brief.